You already know the keyboard and you already know the mouse, but what about the foot mouse? Today we're going to find out. It's part of October Oddities here on Vintage Geek. A quick reminder, if you like vintage tech, including strange peripherals like we're featuring here on October Oddities, be sure to like and subscribe. It's going to help us a lot as we grow, and I encourage you to become a Vintage Geek member. You can do that at the website at vintagegeek.com. Back in the early 80s, all you would really expect to find with a typical computer setup would be a keyboard and maybe a mouse on some of the earlier systems. There were some graphics tablets that we did cover in earlier episodes of Vintage Geek, but other than that, there really weren't a lot of input devices available on the market. Now, I came across this on eBay and I had to pick it up because it just seems so odd. It's called the foot mouse, and when I really started diving into this and doing a little bit of research, the history here is actually really interesting. The foot mouse was a product of a company called Versatron based in California in the early 80s. The company was actually founded in 1980 by Al Voigt and John Speaker. Both of them were alumni from General Dynamics. The company was really involved in early military projects from everything that I found online. They helped create guidance control systems for early military devices and guns and weapons, which is actually pretty interesting. It looks like there were millions of dollars spent over the years on various military projects, so they were involved in some pretty high-end things, as well as inventing a tricycle that set a land speed record. It was called the Vector, and that happened in 1980 as well. So the company behind the foot mouse was involved in some really advanced projects and technology at the time, and to see this particular product is very interesting to me. Versatron was actually acquired by a different company in 1995, and I believe became again a part of General Dynamics many years down the road. But in the meantime, this product is what we're focused on today, the foot mouse. We're going to take a look at what's in the box and see how this was designed to be used. This is from a time period that's actually before Windows and devices that would have used a normal mouse. I'm anxious to see what's inside the box, see how this is supposed to be used, and then hopefully get to try it out. I have to say first of all that I'm actually a fan of the packaging of this device. It's got a nice large box to contain everything inside, but also it has this cool foot mouse logo on it that actually is a little reminiscent to me of Footloose. It's obviously not the same thing, but that's what comes to mind when I see the text and the font and everything here. Looking at the back, of course, it's a different orientation. It says, "This package contains Foot Mouse, an advanced office productivity tool that accelerates word processing and spreadsheet entry. Foot Mouse increases computer learning and efficiency. It's easy to install and easy to use. Simple, elegant, and powerful." So far, the box has piqued my interest, so I definitely want to see what's inside. Looks like we've got some paperwork here, got a user's guide, and it looks like we've got another sheet in here. On the front is some instructions, and on the back are some diagrams that show us how to connect this to our computer. We've got a modular telephone type cable. We've got this extra box here. Now this looks like it must be the actual adapter that goes from this modular type cable to the cable that goes into the PC itself. And then we have the foot mouse, and this has got some weight to it. I understand why. It's designed to sit on the floor, so you obviously don't want it to move around too much when your foot's on it. Looking at this for the first time, I really didn't know what to expect. Would it be buttons that you would press with your foot? Maybe a variety of buttons that you kind of move from one to the other? That is actually not the case with this device. Getting it out of the package, the way it looks like it works is it's actually sliding back and forth. So if I understand this correctly, it looks like you put your foot on the pad and then you would move your foot any direction that you're looking to move. So you can slide it up, you can slide it down, and from side to side. It's very slight movement, but there is a click to it, so I assume that you're going to be able to kind of feel what you're doing with your foot when it's on it. The movement is subtle. The click is definitely going to help to know what's happening. And I have to assume this is going to take the place of like the arrow keys on the keyboard. Again, this is not from the Windows era, so this is really a device that's going to take the place of what you could do with the keyboard normally. And it looks like from the documentation, they talk a lot about word processing, spreadsheet programs, the idea of being able to move around from cell to cell in a spreadsheet, for example. I'm really curious as to how this is going to function. Now, according to the actual document for it and the diagrams, it looks like the way it connects is that you're actually going to put it in place between your normal keyboard for the IBM XT and this device. It shouldn't be too hard to get this plugged in and test it out. Let's give it a try. For our testing today, we're going to be using an XT clone that we have here in the museum. This one's made by a company called Cedars. We actually use this for a lot of bench testing and things that we're doing here in the museum as we're getting machines to work. It's a nice little machine, although it does have a little bit of yellowing due to age, but other than that, everything is in pretty good working order. So this computer is actually bringing up a main menu. Just to show how this would normally work, if you use your arrow keys and the number pad, you can scroll through these menu options. Now, we should be able to do the same process with the foot mouse. So let me see if I can move this down with my foot. Ah, okay. Oops, it's a little touchy. Oh God. Oh, so it does have kind of a click or enter function by actually pushing down on the foot pedal. That's pretty cool. Our in-house technician, Justin, was kind enough to put a few games on a couple of floppy disks for us to try with the foot mouse today, so I'm anxious to give these a shot. These are, of course, copies of games in the library that we don't necessarily have the boxes or manuals to, so it could be a little bit of a learning process, but the idea here is to find things that use the arrow keys normally on the keyboard and see how we can do with the foot mouse and controlling them. So the first game we've got here is a game called Sticks. This is from Windmill Software in 1983, and that's about as much as I know about this particular piece of software. So let's give it a shot. If we hit the enter key by using the center of the footpad, we should be able to start the game, hopefully. All right, this looks cool. So we've got a dot that's traveling around a white line here, and there seems to be something chasing us, like 4 dots around the perimeter here. Now, I was able to find in some documentation online, there's something you're supposed to do with the F1 key while doing the movement of the arrows, so I may have to use the keyboard and the foot mouse at the same time. Let's see what we can do here. So if we hold the F1 and oh, here we go. Not sure what just happened. The F1 did allow us to move off of this white line. Oh, wow, okay. That was... Huh. I'm not sure what that means. So I was able to do something that gave a positive result. Let's try this again. All right, so F1. I don't really know what triggers that to happen, that kind of sequence of events with the lasers or rockets. I'm not sure what they're supposed to be. It does also happen when you hit the 4 dots though. I'm not sure if I'm actually hitting the button instead of the up or down movement. Maybe that's what's causing that. The left and right movement works fine with the foot mouse, and I can start to draw, but then when I get to a certain point, that happens. That time I hit the lines. I assume that was what you're not supposed to do. Just for reference, I'm going to try this with the keyboard in case there's any complication from trying to use that. All right, so the keyboard arrows do work. So now I made a box. Oh, and I colored it in, cool. So I was able to do that with the arrow keys, but it was not doing it for me when I used the foot mouse. So I'm guessing that I'm probably putting too much pressure on it. Well. Yes, really ramped up there. I like that. I'm on the high scoreboard. I made a box. Of course, I didn't do that with the foot mouse. I did that with the arrow keys because the foot mouse is not working for this. And I'm not sure if it's because I keep bumping it to actually hit the enter function of it. Let's try it one more time and just see if we can get anywhere. Okay, left and right's fine. Again, arrow keys are totally fine. So why does it not work when I use it on the actual foot mouse? It also makes a different sound with the foot mouse, which is really weird. That kind of little high-pitched sound as you're drawing. It's possible that it's just the way that I'm moving my foot that's making this not behave the way that it should, but it seems like so far this game is a fail as far as using it with the foot mouse. Although this does look like a fun game and I could spend some time with this with the actual arrow keys, but for the foot mouse it's a no. So I'm going to move on to the next title. Next up we have a knockoff version of Pac-Man for the IBM PC. We're going to see how that does with the foot mouse. This should just be basic arrow type commands. That's what we would do on the keyboard. So let's see how we do. Nice intro graphics, I like it. All right, here we are on the main screen. We should be able to start it with the foot mouse by just clicking it. Let's give that a try. Oh, that does work, okay. Oh, left and right works. You need to go up, Mr. Pac-Man, come on. There we go. Down works, all right. Left, up. Ooh. Up is tricky. I'm not sure why, it just seems a little counterintuitive. Ah! Underestimated how fast he was moving. It is working. I thought this was actually going to be worse than it is. It's not terrible, and it's definitely a different way of playing Pac-Man, that's for sure. The kind of like double click type action that happens sometimes is a bit problematic. Let's see if I can get away from these guys. Go over here. Oh, no, wrong way. Come on up. Ah! The foot mouse failed me right there. Got stuck in a back and forth motion, but it's not too bad. I'm not completely dead yet. Let's see if we can finish out this round. Oh no, trapped. I mean, I can't complain too much. That was a decent round of Pac-Man using the foot mouse. Again, it's not something I would necessarily prefer. I would think the arrow keys would be much easier, and obviously that wasn't the intent of the piece of hardware. It was for word processing and moving around cells in a spreadsheet, but it could be an interesting challenge. Bring your friends in, play a game of Pac-Man using only your foot. Could be a unique experience for sure. Let's try one more game and see how it behaves using the foot mouse. 3Demon is an early version of a 3D platformer that's supposed to emulate Pac-Man in a 3D form, so I thought this would be kind of a nice step to take with the foot mouse, as we should be able to navigate through the maps, hopefully using what would be the arrow keys, but using the foot movement instead. We've got a prompt here for the black and white or color display. I'm going to go with color. Oh, I definitely see the Pac-Man tie-in here. And so 1 through 9 starts the game. We'll just hit number 1 and see what happens. Looks like we're in some kind of corridor. Okay, moving forward works. Now we're taking a right. Moving forward with the foot mouse. Gives us a little beep when we hit the end of the corridor. I'm picking up stuff. It's working. It's just a little slow. This is kind of cool. I've never played Pac-Man in this perspective before. The foot mouse is pretty inefficient for this though. The biggest problem is it's very difficult to actually move it without hitting the kind of center button version of the foot mouse itself. So you keep hitting enter instead of moving forward or back, which is a problem. Oh, you can hold it though, that's cool. Oops. And I actually don't know what the enter key function does in this case. Uh-oh. Oh no. Looks like I got about 15% of it done there. Now holding it forward, that's a nice mechanic. I actually didn't know that that would work. Yeah, that's much better, okay. Moving forward in the hallway, taking a left. I feel like something good happened. Oh, where was that guy? Oh no. Ah! Where's all the stuff? There we go. 37%, come on. It's getting easier as I'm doing it more, which I guess makes sense. Oh no! Ran right into him. 1 life left. Let's make it count. Come on, foot mouse, don't let me down. 50%, I'm halfway there. Come back, come back! I assume this noise means that I can actually kill the ghosts. Uh-oh. 72%, come on, where am I? Oh no! I think that's the end of me. They got me, and I did not make the high score list, unfortunately. Oh, that's fun music at the end, though. And it just goes right back into playing another round. Pretty cool, though. I mean, it does work with the foot mouse. It's an interesting challenge, that's for sure. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, assuming it's better to play with the arrow keys, but it does give you a unique perspective of the game itself. So that was our look at the foot mouse. What an interesting peripheral. I'm glad we have it here in the museum. If you were so lucky to have a foot mouse back when it came out sometime in the 1980s, as I understand it, the list price was $250, which was a lot of money to spend on a peripheral back then, but it does do some interesting things and makes workflow a little bit different on the IBM PC or XT. It was kind of fun to try to play some games with it, presents some unique challenges and just a kind of different way of doing things. The foot mouse seems a little bit ahead of its time. Really glad that we got to take a look at this today. Just want to remind you, if you're into vintage technology, computers, and even peripherals like we looked at here, be sure to like and subscribe. It's going to help us a lot as we grow. And I would encourage you to go to our website where you can become a member. You can access additional video content, special code snippets, and even get discounts on admission to the museum. It's all at vintagegeek.com. Until next time, I'm Aaron, and this has been Vintage Geek.
Do you want to give me a classic, There Is No Escape?
There is no escape!